2 satellites stranded. A failed launch. No fuel for correction. For most space programs, that's a death sentence. But China's engineers pulled off something that sounds more like science fiction than science fact. They used nothing but gravity to bring 2 malfunctioning satellites back on course. No engines. No second chances. Just the raw pull of celestial bodies and 123 days of intense planning. In this video, we're diving into how this maneuver was done, why it's groundbreaking. On March 15, 2025, China launched 2 satellites, DRO-A and DRO-B, atop a Long March 2C rocket equipped with a Yuanzheng 1S upper stage. The mission was meant to deploy these satellites into a high, stable orbit around Earth to join the previously launched DRO-L, forming a crucial navigation satellite constellation. This system was part of China's broader lunar program, designed to enable autonomous spacecraft navigation around both Earth and the Moon. But things quickly went wrong. While the first 2 rocket stages operated nominally, the upper stage suffered a significant malfunction. As a result, the satellites were deployed into an orbit far lower than intended, much closer to Earth, and completely off target. To make things worse, both satellites were tumbling uncontrollably. Not only had the mission missed its mark, but the satellites were also unable to stabilize themselves or generate sufficient power. Engineers feared the satellites might deorbit and burn up in the atmosphere within weeks. This was a critical blow. Years of development, planning, and investment risked going to waste. DRO-A and DRO-B weren't just any satellites. They were central to China's lunar ambitions, part of an infrastructure intended to reduce spacecraft localization time from days to hours. Losing them would delay not just the constellation, but China's planned International Lunar Research Station, ILRS, set to support crewed missions by 2030. Faced with this unprecedented situation, the Technology and Engineering Center for Space Utilization, CSU, a Chinese Academy of Sciences branch, took immediate action. They divided into 2 specialized teams. The first worked on stabilizing the satellite spin by remote control, using what limited thruster power was available. The second team, led by CSU researcher Zhang Hao, focused on something far more ambitious, plotting a course correction that didn't require any significant fuel burn. Instead of relying on propulsion systems, they would use gravitational slingshots, also known as gravity assists. Gravitational slingshots are often associated with interplanetary missions. Voyager, Cassini, and Parker Solar Probe all used planetary flybys to gain speed and alter course without burning additional fuel. But this maneuver had never been used to recover low Earth orbit satellites after a botched launch. What China did with DRO-A and DRO-B wasn't just unprecedented, it was audacious. After stabilizing the satellite spin, the CSU team designed a multi-step recovery plan that would take advantage of gravitational interactions with Earth, the Moon, and the Sun over a 123-day period. The goal was to increase the satellite's apogee, essentially raising the high point of their orbit, slowly and safely without overwhelming their limited propulsion capabilities. From there, the satellites began a remarkable journey spanning approximately 8.5 million kilometers in orbital path. Over the next 4 months, the team coordinated a series of micro-adjustments, some relying on minimal onboard propulsion, others fully dependent on the gravitational pull of nearby celestial bodies. These were not massive burns or high-stakes engine ignitions. These were tiny nudges, timed with cosmic precision. They used the Moon's gravitational field to accelerate and alter the satellite's paths. Even the Sun's distant but constant pull factored into the calculations. The trajectory planning was so precise that any small deviation could have rendered the effort useless. Gravity isn't like a joystick, it's more like sailing. You plot the wind, the currents, and the motion of the sea. Then you act with perfect timing. Both DRO-A and DRO-B had successfully reached their intended orbits, matching the altitude and orientation of DRO-L. The 3 satellites were now ready to operate as a synchronized constellation, just as originally planned. This also set a new precedent for space operations. Slingshot maneuvers are no longer reserved for deep space exploration. They're now a viable last resort for Earth orbit rescues, opening up new contingency playbooks for future missions. With DRO-A and DRO-B now successfully operating alongside DRO-L, the immediate benefits of this recovery mission became clear. These three satellites now form a navigation and positioning constellation designed specifically for space operations in the Earth-Moon system, a critical component of China's future lunar infrastructure. Previously, locating a spacecraft around the Moon could take anywhere from 2 to 3 days, relying heavily on Earth-based ground stations, with substantial communication delays. Now, with the DRO constellation in place, China can triangulate and localize spacecraft positions within just 3 hours. That's a nearly 90% reduction in tracking time, an efficiency leap vital for autonomous operations, emergency responses, and time-sensitive missions. This capability is especially crucial for China's broader plans, building the International Lunar Research Station, ILRS, by the early 2030s. Autonomous navigation will be the backbone of this endeavor, reducing reliance on Earth for real-time commands and enabling spacecraft to self-correct, reroute, or coordinate docking and landing activities independently. The DRO satellites are part of a much larger shift in how space missions are conceived and executed. In an era of increasing launch volume, more crowded orbits, and longer-duration missions, autonomy isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Whether it's a rover navigating shadowy craters on the Moon or a cargo ship approaching a lunar orbital platform, real-time localization and smart onboard navigation will be essential. This mission also sheds light on the evolving philosophy of space resilience. Instead of building spacecraft that either succeed or fail outright, we're entering an era of recoverable missions, where failure is not the end, but the start of an adaptive response. This aligns closely with the development of AI-powered spacecraft, predictive orbital analytics, and self-healing networks of space infrastructure. The DRO constellation isn't just about saving time. It's about building trust in a new kind of space architecture, one that's distributed, autonomous, and responsive. And perhaps most importantly, one that can evolve under pressure. China's success with this mission signals that the country is not only racing toward lunar milestones, but also redefining how space missions deal with adversity. It's no longer just about launching bigger rockets or sending more probes. It's about orchestrating systems that can think, adapt, and recover. The recovery of DRO-A and DRO-B wasn't just a mission success, it was a paradigm shift. By turning a catastrophic launch failure into a triumph through precision, patience, and gravity, China proved that even the worst-case scenarios in orbit can be salvaged with ingenuity. This wasn't just about saving 2 satellites. It was about redefining what's possible in space rescue, navigation, and autonomy. As we move toward a future filled with lunar bases and deep space missions, this operation reminds us that sometimes the universe itself can lend a helping hand if we're smart enough to ask for it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates on space exploration and scientific discoveries, and don't forget to leave a comment below. Also, you can visit our website, spaceinews.com. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.